Jesus said, "Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me." If that's true, and Scripture says it is, then how we treat children is not a side issue. It is a direct reflection of how we treat Christ Himself. Today, we are going to talk about God's little children, the responsibility placed on every believer, and the consequences, both eternal and earthly, of ignoring what God has made unmistakably clear. Mark 9 verses 36 to 37. And he took a child and put him in the midst of them, and taking him in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever receives one such child in my name receives me, and whoever receives me, receives not me but him who sent me." Receives, which I desire to accomplish with this writing, would be the opposite of rejection. If you run a church and do not have a youth program, you are rejecting them. Luke 6:19. And the whole multitude sought to touch him, for there went virtue out of him, and healed them all. Pass out blessings, and people will line up to get one, even if they do not believe in God. It is highly likely why parents brought their children to Jesus to get him to touch them. Matthew 19 verses 13 to 14. Then were there brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them, and pray, and the disciples rebuked them. But Jesus said, "Suffer little children, and forbid them not, to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven." I cannot fail to mention Matthew 18 verse 3, and said, "Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven." When you were a child and fell, you likely ran to one or both of your parents. When you become adults, you must continue to run to your parent, our Father in heaven, when you fall. This scripture begs the question, what is Jesus saying when we must become as little children? Verse 4 answers this question. "Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven." They trust their parents, as adults must now trust God. Children are untainted and untroubled by worldly problems, displaying their purity. The best sound in the world is little children laughing. In Luke 20:34-36 and Matthew 12:25, Jesus informs the Sadducees that those who enter heaven are not given in marriage and are now equal to the heavenly angels. Hebrews 2 verse 7 proves that God did make mankind a little lower than the angels, which reinforces the statement, are now equal to the heavenly angels. I look forward to that day when I become equal with the angels and engage in the same work as them. I hope you discover, as I did a long time ago, that Satan has no one to stop us from doing as much of the angels' work in this world before we die as we can. Matthew 18:10 tells us of the angels of the little ones and how they always behold the face of God. Don't be afraid to act as an angel for the little ones. It is like a runner at the starting line who bolts before the gun goes off. But no one will stop us. James 4 verse 17 says, "Therefore to him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not to him it is sin." If you have the opportunity to do good for one of God's little children and you do not, you have sinned against them. Their angels will testify against you before God's throne. It won't matter if you are or are not their parent. Proverbs 3 verse 27 may be referring to money, but I could not help but think of James 4 verse 17 when I first read it. I also apply it to God's children. "Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it." Proverbs 3 verse 27. Just as Ephesians 2 verse 10 declares that we were created to do good. Romans 2 verse 10 "But glory, honor, and peace, to every man that worketh good, to the Jew first, and also to the Gentile." Galatians 6 verse 9 "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." Well-doing means good, and faint not means never to stop. On the other hand, Psalms 55 verse 23 "But thou, O God, shalt bring them down into the pit of destruction, bloody and deceitful men shall not live out half their days, but I will trust in thee." 1 Thessalonians 4 verse 7 "For God hath not called us unto uncleanness, but unto holiness." I am not advising you to go looking for an opportunity, especially concerning strangers. I want you to recognize when one comes along and not be afraid to seize the opportunity. Instead, admonish and instruct them and tell their parents. Wording your instructions as a question will help avoid conflict. I do not believe God puts any limitations on His believers from doing good for others, especially our church family. Look up John 3 verse 16 for the ultimate sacrifice for others. This is evident in Galatians 6 verse 10. Why bother with Sunday school for them if teaching other people's children is forbidden? That sounds like a great opportunity to me. As we have therefore, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Galatians 6 verse 10. I once had a friend with a little daughter named Julie. She used to ask me why I did the things for her that I did. I told her God told me to do it even though she was not mine and that there were not enough ladies in the world. Lastly, I said to her that if everyone in her life would influence her as I did, she could not fail to become a godly woman. Many times, I have heard it said to respect your elders. 1 Timothy 5 verse 1 and 2 Rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father, and the younger men as brethren, the elder women as mothers, the younger as sisters, with all purity. Job 12:12 With the ancient is wisdom, and in length of days understanding. 1 Peter 5 verse 5 Likewise, ye younger, submit yourselves unto the elder. The younger in this context refers to young children and those young in the faith and led by the elders and pastors. God did not command the younger to submit to the authority and instructions of their elders to be neglected, misled, or abused by them. Following James 4 verse 17 can get you into a lot of trouble if you are not very careful. It requires a lot of tact and diplomacy. You will run into trouble even then. Use common sense, for only fools rush in. The type of person mentioned in Proverbs 17 verse 13, Whoso rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. Those who repay good with evil is a fool with an evil heart. This is one reason why following James 4 verse 17 may cause grief. When God said the world would hate us, he was not wrong, in the least. As 1 Peter 3 verses 16 to 17 says, it is better to suffer for doing good rather than for doing wrong. Luke 6 verses 22 to 23 Blessed are ye, when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil, for the Son of Man's sake. Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy, for, behold, your reward is great in heaven, for in the like manner did their fathers unto the prophets. And we shall not lose our rewards either. Matthew 7 verse 6 Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and turn again and rend you. The dogs and swine mentioned here are those who have arrived at a pitch of wickedness that they are notoriously vile. The pearls are good counsel and reproof. A wise reproof is like an excellent oil. Proverbs 25 verse 12. If you receive any ridicule or mockery for your instructions to children other than your own, stop, for they will turn on you and only hate you. Proverbs 15 verses 31 to 33 The ear that heareth the reproof of life abides among the wise. He that refuseth instruction despises his own soul, but he that heareth reproof getteth understanding. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. A woman once told me there was no such thing as unconditional love. To which I asked her, How many years have you been going to church? I told her she had not learned a thing. Children are an excellent example of unconditional love. They will love you pretty much with no strings attached. They do not see or mention your faults. Rest assured, they want your presence in their lives over any present you can give them. It is just about the closest you can get in this world to God's unconditional love. Sad to say, you will never find a spouse like that. Possibly, that's why Jesus loved the little children and compared heaven to them. Children are filled with joy, love, innocence, and laughter. Too bad we lose that as we grow. Children will even play during wars. Psalm 127 verse 3 Behold, children are a heritage from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward. The importance of family to God's little ones. Given the divorce rate today, there are many stepchildren worldwide. If you have stepchildren, you should raise them with the same love and discipline you would give to your own. They come along with the territory. 1 Timothy 5 verse 8 But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith, and is worse than an infidel. Now that you have received this knowledge of the truth, you cannot escape your responsibility to do what's right to God's little children, as James 4 verse 17 instructs. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, Galatians 6 verse 7. You cannot shrink back from this and escape, for God knows all the thoughts of our hearts, Hebrews 4 verse 12. Compared with continuously married parents, single parents are less emotionally supportive of their children, have fewer rules yet dispense harsher discipline, and provide less supervision. Step-parents spend less time with children and offer less positive response and encouragement. It is time for step-parents to step up and be involved in the children's lives they have accepted into their world. Go big or go home, as they say. The ones who suffer most in a divorce are the children. Children who grow up with two married parents tend to fare better than others. The future of children. 2005 Alcohol and drug addictions make for a violent home life for children. Be very careful in your selection of a spouse. The destruction of the family is the work of Satan. The family is one more thing God has created that the devil is destroying. If you deliberately sabotage your marriage, as the worldly feminists have instructed you, be aware that you will stand before God's throne and answer for every negative consequence your actions have caused in your children's lives. Swallow your pride and make amends if you can to preserve your marriage. Forget about no-fault divorce, it will not help you when you stand before God's throne. If this message encouraged or challenged you, consider supporting it by liking the video and following the channel. It helps keep scripture-based teaching visible and accessible to others who are searching for biblical truth.